Hello. Fuck. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mixed Plate Podcast. And wow, that was quite the hiatus there. I think our last podcast was. I can look that up actually right now. See, our last podcast was April 12th. That was April, May, June, July, August, September. Six months ago to the day, actually. Yeah, our last podcast was April 12th. And by the time this gets up, it'll be tomorrow, October 12th. So, yeah. Sorry, life kind of just got in the way a little bit there, I guess. We've all been pretty busy with things. Even though we haven't done podcasts, it doesn't mean we haven't been busy. We've actually been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of shows. Myself and the rest of the Mixed Plate crew, we've been doing a bunch of shows here and there and all that. And it's yeah. But anyway, hopefully we'll be doing this. No, not hopefully. I'm saying it. We will be doing these more. It has to be. I don't want to call it a priority, but it's just fun. I mean, I'm a huge fan of podcasts. I listen to mostly comedians' podcasts, but it seems like a healthy thing to do. You know, you're kind of just like putting yourself out there, talking about things, putting it out into the ether, into the universe, whatever you want to call it. And so we will be doing more of these. I promise you. With that being said, I'm also going to be doing a solo podcast, which I'm calling Fresh Catch, which it'll be just myself. I mean, obviously, I'm going to talk about music and stuff like that, but I'll also be talking about just like, you know, just other shit, like not necessarily all music. I'll be talking about whatever. And I kind of just decided to do that just, you know, just so I can do something on my own by myself. I don't need to like, you know, hey man, can you come over this time do a podcast? You know what I mean? Like shit's kind of crazy, you know, like I get busy, people get busy. And sometimes, I mean, that's honestly why we haven't done a Mixed Plate podcast in probably 6 months. Just cause it's like, it's kind of hard. Especially in LA, you know, everyone's trying to do something out here. And especially all like in the creative fields, everyone's really trying to do a lot of things. And so, you know, to get people to sit down and have a two hour conversation, it doesn't always line up the way that I hope it would. And again, I'm not saying that it's other people's fault by any means. I'm actually going to put the blame on myself. One of the biggest reasons why we haven't done it is because I got laid off from my job that I've been working at for 5 years. Shout out Revolt TV. No, it was like a necessary thing that had to happen with the company, but unfortunately, I got wrapped in with that whole thing, so got laid off, and it was a pretty weird time for me because I haven't not had like a full-time job since I, you know, like I was in high school. I always had like a job, like I always had a full-time job. If I wasn't working, I was going to school. I was going to film school, which was 6 months. As soon as I got out of film school, I started working immediately, and I haven't stopped working since until May of this year. Oh, and my wife is FaceTiming right now. This will be fun. Hello.
Hi, cutie.
You're live on the podcast.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just me.
Hi, podcast. We got fresh cats. Coded clutch.
This one's actually still on the Mixed Plate podcast. I'm gonna do like a big wrap up of all the things that we've done, but I just said that I'm gonna be doing Fresh Catch, which would just be just me.
Oh, cool.
My solo podcast.
I was calling to ask you for a favor.
What's up?
There's a new sketch for Sketchy as Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping you could cut me an Instagram video with just the beginning part.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, is it like the just the parts that show you?
Just the very beginning is me, and it's the. Are you guys together? No.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, totally. I can I'll do that once I'm done with this podcast.
Okay, I just want to be able to post it at 7.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is only last like maybe like a half an hour, or maybe like 45 minutes. So I'll do it right after I'm done.
All right, love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. See, and that's why I also want to do a podcast by myself, because I can just do shit like that. You know what I mean? Like call my friends from like back home in Hawaii and catch up with them, or just whatever, just kind of talk about things not specifically related to dance music or whatever. So what was I saying? Laid off from my job. Yeah, and so I've always had a job since I was young, and so not having a job really kind of freaked me out. It wasn't that I didn't. It's not that I felt that I was not good enough, but it was just like a weird feeling of like waking up and not having a job to go to every day. Obviously the first couple of days were like, hell yeah, dude, I'm just gonna get drunk and like I'm just gonna smoke weed and just play video games all day. And then like by the second or third day it was just like, oh man, this is fuck, like what am I gonna do? Like, so anyway, long story short, that's one of the reasons why we have been kind of paused on the podcast. My fault. So but yeah, with that being said, I'm in a much better place. I've been doing yoga and I'm doing sober October, and I feel like I have control over my life, and I feel no, like I'm not even joking. It's only been, what is it, 11 days of sober October, and I feel so much like more energized. Like I understand what like the comedian Bert Kreischer and Joe Rogan and all those guys talk about doing sober October, or just like just taking a weekend off from drinking. You know what I mean? Like it's good to reset your body. I've never consciously done that ever. I mean, obviously I haven't been drinking every single weekend. You know what I mean? But like kind of close to that. Like I'm not gonna lie, I drink a lot. I like to drink. It's what I mean? Like as the Honorable Judge Kavanaugh said, I like beer. I drink beer. I still drink beer. I like beer. But stupid. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah. So yeah, in a better place, and so yeah, we'll be doing more of these podcasts, and hopefully we'll be getting some like kind of fun and interesting guests. We've talked about having, well, obviously like the crews that we collab with, Forward Rhythm and Technopathic, and the 900 Block guys, and then also like Ray Cash from Temple Tuesdays. Lubelski from Desert Hearts. We were talking like about 6 months ago about doing something, but hopefully we will get this thing cracking and back up and rolling. So let's see, I talked about doing Fresh Catch. So this episode of the Mixplay Podcast is just going to be myself, and this will kind of be like a little segue into like I'll be doing my own podcast. So this is kind of like what it'll sound like, except on this episode, I'm just going to be recapping basically everything that we've done since the last podcast, because we've been doing a lot of shit. Before we do that, I'm going to light a joint real quick. Excuse me. So let's see. The last podcast we did was with LA Waldo, God, I don't even know what his title is. He's a promoter. He works for Exchange, works for Avalon, works for all bunch of different crews. That was a really, really fun podcast. That was myself, Marvin Just, aka Eddie, and LA Waldo, and we got some really good feedback. There was people who we don't even know were leaving comments and texting people saying, man, that the podcast you had with that Waldo guy was pretty interesting. And so we want to do more like these. Like obviously we want to have on DJs and producers and people who do music, but we also want to have people who aren't just like DJs or just producers, or you know what I mean, like people who are involved with the music and art scene but aren't like a DJ, like a promoter or like a live painter, or people who organize events, or people who do visuals. Oh, speaking of visuals, there's a really, really cool show next week called Control Z. I believe it's by the people who run it are called Production Club. But it's that guy Beeple. If you guys don't know who Beeple is, he's this wizard who makes 3D graphics. Like if you if you've been going to raves or shows or whatever, I guarantee you have seen some of his work. He puts out these like amazing looking graphics, and he just puts them out for free. He puts it on his website, like lets you download the full HD version of it, lets you use it in whatever projects you're using. Just the only thing he asks is like, credit me if you can, or like send it to me so I can see what you're doing with it. You know what I mean? Like it's such a cool thing for somebody with like such an amazing talent to do. Just give away his art for free. And so anyway, this show is called Control Z. And it's going to be a little bit different because it's going to be about visual arts, like the visuals part of it, not necessarily the music. Normally at most shows, like when you go to, the highlight is the DJ. Obviously it's the music, and the visuals are kind of secondary. They're kind of just like icing on the cake, I guess you could call it. But this show is going to be different. It's going to be flipped, which I think is awesome. I've always been super into visuals. I've never like made crazy visuals ever, but I like manipulating them using that program, Resolume, like live triggering visuals and all that. And I've made like hour loops of visuals, but I didn't make the visuals. I just downloaded it and then manipulated it and added stuff on top of it. Anyway, I'm getting too crazy into this, but yeah, that's going to be a really, really cool show. I believe you can just RSVP online and it's free, I think. But yeah, so those kind of people, we want those kind of people on the Mixplay podcast as well. So if anyone's listening, if you know of anybody, please send them our way. We'd love to, work with people like that, because it's always cool and interesting to have like someone else's perspective. You know what I mean? On the music scene, it's cool to like see how everybody sees it, from their perspective point of view. Let's see. Talked about that. Oh yeah. So So I'm just gonna get right into it. This is like all the shows that we've done since the last podcast. So immediately following that last podcast with L.A. Waldo, he actually invited us back to Exchange for Drumcode, a Drumcode night at Exchange, and it was featuring Leighton Jordani and Bart Skills, and which was awesome. Those guys are legends. But it was also cool because this was the first time that he was doing his own kind of theme party, which he's calling it Homeroom, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of like a school vibe, like he had like a booth where you could take pictures with like a desk on it, and then I think there was girls dressed up like as teachers, and I kind of forget because it was a long time ago. It was literally like 6 months ago, so I don't really remember. But the coolest thing that I want to talk about was he gave Waldo gave us all these like white and red Letterman jackets, and it said Homeroom on the back. Which I thought was super, super cool. Obviously, it goes with the theme, but it was like when I was in high school, I never really played sports. Not never really. I didn't play sports. Like I didn't do them at all. I was more like surfing and skating and like that whole kind of thing. And they didn't give Letterman jackets to skaters in high school. So, but I always wanted one because like seeing like all like like the football stars like walking around school, they got these cool jackets on and everybody knows who they are. I always like wanted that, and so it was kind of cool getting one of these Letterman jackets at that show because there was just 4 of us. There was 4 of us with these red and white Letterman jackets on that said Homeroom, and we'd be like walking around Exchange, and we kind of just like see each other across from like, oh, what up, bro? Like it was like kind of I felt like I was one of the cool kids for once, I guess. So shout out L.A. Waldo, man. That was an awesome show. That was super fun. Thank you for having us out. Yeah, that was a super techno night. And then after that, we did another one of the Forward Rhythm Versus series, which was actually kind of cool. This was at they had a few of I think they had like 3 or 4 of these, and Forward Rhythm would have them at the Lash, which is like a little kind of bar venue kind of thing in downtown LA. But it was cool because Shermie would bring his PlayStation 4 and a projector, and we'd have like Dragon Ball Z or what else games did we have? Super Smash Brothers, shit like that. And so like it never turned out to be like a super cracking party. I mean, it was like on the weekdays, like Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's kind of ridiculous to try to like expect a shit ton of people to come out on a weekday. You know what I mean? But what it kind of turned into was kind of more like just like a mixer type of like vibe. Like whoever was DJing or whoever was helping out that night was just like, it was cool. It was more like a little get together versus like a show where there's pressure and crowd and blah 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 blah. Blah. And so that was a cool thing. I hope they continue doing that because nice little like chill session for everyone to like kick it at. After that, Bassman, DJ Bassman. I don't know if we actually said this on the podcast yet, but yeah, DJ Bassman, our friend Ben Salgado, we brought him on to Mixplate. He's been a friend for a while now. I met him because I was working with like this other kind of crew. They were like trans kids. And Ben was just a part of that. And so I think we kind of just like, I think we played the same show or something. And then we're like, oh, you're the guy from the like Facebook Messenger thing. Like from, oh yeah, yeah. Then we just started talking and then just kind of like became super close. And, so yeah, he's a part of the Mixplate crew now. We're super stoked. He's like a drum and bass like guru. Like he lives for that shit. I think only recently he started like playing a little bit like little house, little techno. Before it was like he didn't give a fuck what the show was, what kind of vibe it was. He was like, I'm playing fucking drum and bass. That's like what I'm doing. I don't give a fuck. Which was I was like, fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like, you know, like he's just like repping the shit out of it, which I always, you know, because like most of us will kind of play to the crowd, I guess, you know, like, oh, if it's like a house techno thing, then do that. If it's hip hop, you would, you know what I mean, we'll kind of switch it up. But Ben was just like, nah, fuck that, drum and bass all day. So anyway, he actually opened for Netsky. I don't know how you say his name. He's that European dude who makes pretty fucking good drum and bass. I actually I edited like a piece, like it was like a day in the life of like a video thing of him. Yeah, seemed like a pretty cool dude and great music. But yeah, so Ben opened up for Netsky. I wasn't there. I believe Hector was there though, and Ben always kills it. It's never a question of if he killed it. He killed it. So. Then after that, we had another installment of Unison, which is the 4-part collaboration between Mixplate, Forward Rhythm, 900 Block, and Teclopathic. This one was kind of special because it was on Cinco de Mayo, which is always a fun holiday. People think that that's Mexican Independence Day. It's not. Cinco de Mayo was implemented. I don't know. I don't know why, but I know it's a fake holiday. Like Mexicans don't celebrate that shit. It's not like anyway. This one was fun because we did a double header. So during the day or morning till sunset, we had Unison at Woodley Park, which has been our home for a couple years now. And then after that, we had an after party at Pattern Bar, which Pattern Bar has always been awesome to us. You know, they're really nice people. Equipment's good. We're just like all around good things to say about Pattern Bar. So we were stoked that they accommodated and had us all there after a crazy park party. I think that was actually the last show that Young Jedi Joseph played, I think. Anyway, during the day we had like it was Mikey Pham, Marie Nix, Ben Dragon, Mary Droppins. And then at night at Pattern Bar, it was Stefan Say, Luis Miranda, Juliet Mendoza, and then a big old Unison family set, which is always fun. I think I was beat from the day, so I didn't even make it to Pattern Bar. I packed up all the shit at Woodley, and I think I went straight home and passed out. But I heard good things about Pattern Bar. Oh, speaking of Luis Miranda, that dude has been killing it lately. If you guys don't know who Luis Miranda is, he's part of the Teclopathic crew, but he's been releasing multiple tracks on various labels. Like he's on Beatport charts, been playing a ton of shows. He actually played one of my tracks. He was at like some beach in Barcelona or some shit like that. He sent me a video. It was tight. But yeah, props to Luis Miranda, man. I think out of the little, you know, circle of DJs that and friends that I know, he's he's killing it. I mean, besides Graves, but Graves is a different genre type of thing. So in the house and techno world, the people that I know, Luis Miranda is killing it. So if you're listening, shout out, dude. You've been killing it. Keep it up. What else have we been doing? Deep End. Deep End is a little crew that got put together from Brent Lab. He's Luis Moreno's friend, Dirt Vibes' friend. He brought him on to play Unison, I think our first Unison or something like that. And from there, he kind of just branched off and started his own little crew called Deep End. I believe it's Brent and like Lorenzo. And then I know Dirt Vibes and Bassman kind of like help out with that too, bring gear and, you know, that whole thing. But it's dope to see just more of these little crews popping up and, you know, people all kind of like doing music. That's like one thing that I never really agreed with. Like when people get I don't know the word for it, like people get not jealous, or they get threatened, like if like there's more, if things that they do other people are also doing it too and coming up, you know what I mean, doing stuff. I never really had that type of feeling ever. I've always just been like, oh, that's cool, dude. Like that means like whatever we're doing is cool because other people are doing it too. It's kind of like validation almost. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like we're not just, you know what I mean? Like other people are doing this too, and that's awesome. Like if more, I feel like if more people did things that make them happy and, you know, bring them some type of joy, this world will be a much better place. Because I mean, a lot of people don't really have outlets like this. They don't have what is the word, like a hobby. Like not everybody has like a fun hobby that they do on the weekend with their friends. And so I always encourage the shit out of anybody who's doing anything remotely fun, creative, artsy, whatever, like whatever it is. Like if you're doing that shit, that's awesome, and keep doing it. Because I forget who told, there was a DJ producer kid that we were interviewing for Revolt one day, and one of the questions was you know, like with the invention of the internet and software becoming so reasonably priced and very, very powerful and fast computers with software on it, and then like MIDI instruments and like DJ controllers and MIDI, you know what I mean? Like with all of that, do you think, or the question was, do you think with all of that, that's a problem? Because like, you know, there's like 12, 13-year-olds who are like becoming producers and blowing up and playing shows, blah, 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 blah. And I think we were both expecting for a response like, yeah, man, it's kind of shitty, you know, like all these kids are just fucking just like not really making music. They're just, you know, pushing buttons and making tracks and it's whack. And we're expecting that kind of answer. But his answer actually shocked us. And he said, no, I think it's amazing that it's available to everyone. He said, I think if everybody made music, the world will be a better place. And when he said that, you know, like make music, you can also apply that to any other creative whatever field. And he said that it's cool now because now the playing field has been leveled. We all are at the same we all have the same advantages. Like before it was like you had to run a studio, you had to have an engineer, you had to have players, you had to have instruments, you know what I mean? You just to make music, you needed a lot of money to like make music and release music. Now we all have access to everything. We can all buy computers for cheap. We can all get, you know, we can go on Craigslist and find like keyboards and like drum pads and whatever you need to make music, you can get it at a decent price now. And so now it's not a matter of who can afford what this gear, that gear, this thing, that thing. It's like, how dope are you? That's going to set you apart from everybody else, is how dope are you? Because everybody can do it. So how dope are you? So I thought that was a cool thing. I don't know how I got... Deep End. Yeah. So shout out to the boys at Deep End. I apologize. I still haven't been to one of your parties yet. Just been slammed with shit and doing all kinds of stuff. But I will make it to one of your parties. Absolutely. Sometime soon. Back to more mixed plate news. What was the next show? Marvin Jest Eddie played the main stage for a Control show at Avalon, featuring Angels and Seven, which I haven't heard of before. Before he had this show, but they were like pretty dope, future house type of vibe, kind of like a bass rush ish type of stuff. Eddie did great. It was awesome. He had a killer set. I believe it's uploaded on the Mixplate SoundCloud, I think. He played one of our friends, Donald Thump. He's one of the DJs that we know, based out of San Diego. He has a song called Wild Plants, and it features like like I guess it's like Joe Rogan's voice, basically talking about ayahuasca and like all this crazy shit. So it was cool to hear like that song played out in a big venue like Avalon in Hollywood. But yeah, he killed that show. The other cool part about it was our friend Rob Cornell, who I know from Revolt. He does this amazing graphics dude who does visuals and projection mapping and all this crazy shit. Check him out on underscore R0BE underscore Robe. His company is Autono, I believe it's spelled Autono, Autono. But he made us these really dope mixed plate shaka graphics that like glitch out and like it looks like there's like water or like liquid like rushing over it and splattering everywhere and twisting and spinning and all this like cool shit. And so the visuals guys at Avalon had like this just humongous mixed plate shakas on the LED walls in Avalon, and it was a pretty cool moment for me, and I think for the rest of the crew, and just like looking up at one of the most like legendary stages for dance music in America and seeing like our logo up there. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, like we're doing something. It was it was cool. It was a cool experience to see that and to hear Eddie, killing it. So yeah, that was an awesome night. What happened? Oh, Warp Tour. Holy shit. So Evade Robots, Hector played Warp Tour with this band called I think they're called Cockeyed Optimist, but me and Hector call it Cockeyed Optometrist. What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, played Warp Tour with Cockeyed Optimist. And it was awesome. It was dope. It was like one of those things that, like, when we were driving home, it was like, dude, you like just fulfilled like all of our like childhood dreams, like when punk rock and like alternative rock was like the shit. You know what I mean? Like Warp Tour was that thing. Like what EDC or like Ultra is to dance music, that's what it was for like alternative rock and punk music was Warp Tour. If you made it on Warp Tour, you were the shit. You were killing it. You were like, because I think, I mean, it went all over America, obviously, but they hit a lot of cities. I remember it was like there were insane amount of dates when you would see like the lineup, and everywhere they were going, it was just like bam, bam, bam. Like I want to say like 30 cities out of 50, some shit like that. But yeah, that was a really cool moment for us to see, me and my wife Laura just watching the homie Hector playing at Warp Tour. It was awesome. The one thing that I will say about Warp Tour is that it was kind of sad a little bit to it was kind of sad to see how small it had become. I went to Warp Tour when I was young in Hawaii, and I didn't even know what it was. My friends were going. I heard about it and snuck out and went to that. And it was dope because there was like Half Pipes and there was Blink-182 and Green Day, and it was dope. It felt so big. And then I didn't go to one after that until this latest one where Hector played, but Yeah, I think just maybe like I'm comparing Warp Tour to something like Electric Daisy Carnival or like some kind of rave shit or hard. That's what I was saying. Um, because the place that had Warp Tour in SoCal was the same spot that they're doing hard at, and so just kind of seeing like how big hard was. Like hard has like 5 different stages. It basically takes over like that whole property. Like that's all hard. For Warp Tour, it was just like a little kind of small cornered off section of uh of that venue in Pomona, and so it was kind of like, huh, man, like alternative rock and like punk and all that shit is just dying. I mean, it's whatever. Like music evolves. There will always be new genres, new types. It'll always like that's. I'm fine with that, but it's more of like a sentimental thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, and this is the last Warp Tour. This year was the last Warp Tour. So if you didn't get to go, you're fucked because they're not they're not ever doing it again. Then that was the thing too. It was like, holy shit, Warp Tour is over. Like they're not gonna do Warp Tour anymore. Like that was a staple. Like it was, you know. Yeah. Anyway, oh, and then the following weekend, we went to Warp Tour in Vegas to meet up with some of our Hawaii friends. Anthony Brunson, Graves, yeah, just a bunch of people came up to see the last Warp Tour in Vegas, which was a complete shit show. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. We got to see the Used, which was tight. Hopefully, some of you out there know who the Used is. I'm assuming some of you do. Yeah, awesome show, super fun, punk rock shit. It was tight. And then after that, we did Space Taco Tuesdays, which was super fun. Those guys have been killing it, man. Like, and it's crazy because they're all the way out in Pomona, which is, you know, like decently outside of Los Angeles. I don't know. I don't know if Pomona is Los Angeles County, but I know it's far. Like for people who live like in like Hollywood, downtown LA, Koreatown, the Valley, like it's kind of far to drive up to Pomona. And so to see them like kind of just killing it, I don't know like where everybody comes from, if that's all like a Pomona crowd. I'm guessing so, but like, dude, they had a show with Doc Martin for free, and they had like both rooms completely packed. Like it was on like a Wednesday or so, or Tuesday. Oh, the Space Taco House Tuesdays. It was a Tuesday. Yeah, they had they had that place cracking. It was dope. Yeah. Now that I'm kind of back on my hustle grind for this music shit, definitely want to be working with Space Taco more. Yeah, those guys have been killing it. Oh, that was the first show that our friend Dennis, he had his first show there. They booked him, and he came over to my house actually to practice a few times, I think. Yeah, like 2 or 3 times before that. And you know, I was just kind of just giving him pointers, like, yeah, try this, try that. Oh, that sounds great, cool. You know what I mean? But it was cool to see him play his first show because like I could see the not the fear. I don't want to say it was the fear, but it was the fear that I think anyone who's a DJ and played their first show, there's like this fuck, you know what I mean? Because you're like taking this thing out of your bedroom and then you're doing it for people, and it's a weird thing. It's like it's just weird to do it for the first time. And so seeing him go through that was so much fun because like you could see it in his face that he was nervous, but then you could see like when he started like getting in the groove and kind of feeling it. And the dope part is there was a shit ton of people. Like his first show was fucking dope. There was at least, I want to say like 70 people in the room just vibing. He had great song selection. He had a couple little transition things, whatever, you know what I mean? But no one fucking cares about that. The fact is that he kept the party going. Like everybody kept dancing. It was just dope to like. I think there's pictures. Yeah, let me look real quick. Yeah, there's a picture on I think the Mixplate Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But yeah, that was a really cool experience to see that. You know, it's been a while since seeing somebody's first time DJing. You know, it's mostly people who've been doing it for a bit, kind of in the same whatever class, I guess, if you want to call it. Yeah, so that was dope. That was super cool. Next show we had after that, tech support at Pattern Bar. Our friends Donald Thump and Donald Thump and Mr. Smith, out in San Diego, they have this show called Tech Support, and they're bringing it to LA. The first show was, I want to say June, like August. Yeah, like 2-3 months ago, at Pattern Bar, and yeah, he was nice enough to book us. It was like me, Eddie, and Dirt Vibes for that first Tech Support. I believe, what is his name? That wizard DJ dude from Lamp, PZB. PZB was around, so towards the end he was dropping some tracks, but oh man, I'll save that for another story. But I have a really, really gnarly story about DJ PZB and me and Hector seeing him for the first time. I'll save that story for later. Anyways, next party. Eddie played Control for the AMF pre-party. I was at Avalon also. AMF, if you guys don't know what that is, that's Gary Richards, aka Destructo. His new brand is called AMF, which stands for All My Friends. Obviously you guys have probably heard this, that Live Nation basically took him out of Hard. Well, not took him. They paid him. They paid him to be like, here, dude. Here's I don't know how many millions of dollars. We own Hard now, and so he was like, cool, take it. So, yeah. So, but like typical Gary Richards fashion, he's like, I'll just start some new shit. That was the one thing that like I learned from him. I've interviewed him about maybe 2 or 3 times now for Revolt. This time that I'm talking about was on Holy Ship, and we were asking about what were we talking? Oh, we were talking about all the different like brands that he has created, like before Hard. Like he had this thing called like the Sunrise Sermon, I believe. Sunrise Sermon set, Sunrise, yeah, something like that. Something about sermon. I think it was called the Sermon. Anyway, it was like this thing where they would have like this themed parties after the rave ended at 2 or whatever. They would set up at like these I want to say that they were like little shitty bars, and the bars would let them go from like 4 o'clock in the morning till like noon or some shit. And I guess Destructo would always go on, you know what I mean, like as the sunrise was coming up, and like it was called the Sermon. So that was just like one story out of like, I don't know, he told us like 15 stories of all these like different brands that he came up. And then, I mean, let's not forget that Electric Daisy Carnival was he created that. And then Pasquale, you know what I mean, like took that from him. Not took it from him, but whatever. That's his thing now. So it just goes to show that, Destructo is a force to be reckoned with and respected for his, his like business sense. I mean, obviously he's heavily ingrained in dance music. The whole like G house thing. I mean, he's like working with rappers and all kinds of shit. So I mean, say what you want about Hard events, but like shout out Gary Richards. That dude is a champ. So let's see. Oh, and then the next day, after that Avalon Control party that Eddie played was Nights with Mystic Pete on KXLU radio. This was a show that I was bummed not to be at because Mystic Pete is amazing. I think the show that he does every week is so dope that there's somebody out there who's still like, like giving radio shots to like the underground. Like he doesn't book like headliners or like nobody like huge. It's just like local people, which is so rad. I couldn't make it because I had to go to, me and my wife had to go to this we call it Jesus Camp, but it's some shit they call Engaged Encounter. It's for like people who are engaged and like they have to, it's like a summer camp for engaged people if you're like a Catholic person. You know what I mean? It's like 3 days of like not Bible reading, but like, yeah, I don't know. It was weird. it was a crazy experience. I'm not religious anymore, obviously. But it was a trip. It was so anyway. I'm at this Jesus camp thing with my wife, and that's why I couldn't be at KXOU Nights with Mystic Pete. But some funny shit happened. I guess Hector and Joseph, they loaded my CDJs into Joseph's car, which is like a, I think it's a two-door. Yeah, it's like a two-door with like a fold down seats, but like a big enough back seat to just fit the CDJs in there. Like it just fits, you know. So they're driving there. They're driving to Loyola Marymount to do this radio show. I think Eddie's there waiting. You know what I mean? And it's like about time for them to go on the air, and I'm sitting in this Jesus camp thing, and like I'm not gonna lie, I was eating so much weed edibles because like we tried to like do the whole like, you know, like, okay, this is a stupid situation, not stupid situation, but this is kind of bullshit, but let's just try to like make the best out of it. Like maybe we'll learn something from this, you know, about each other and about relationship, and you know, like let's try to make the best of this. And then like I want to say like 20 minutes in, we both looked at each other, and there was like these old people talking, and we looked at each other and we were like, fuck, this is gonna, there's 3 more days of this. And it was okay, like this is why it was bad. It was bad because it was these like older couples who were like, you know, like religious, Catholic religious, and they're reading us stories about their life, like reading from a script. Like in 1993, my wife and Joni had our first son, Jack. Jack grew up to be like, it was like, but just for hours on end. And so it was hard to like take anything from it. You know what I mean? It was like, it just seemed fake. It was like, like if you guys are trying to teach us something, just talk to us about your life. Like I understand not everybody's like an actor. Like they can't just freestyle on a mic. I'm not saying I can either, but it was like, oh man, like I'm really not going to learn shit from this. Like I want to say for the whole weekend, what I learned was how much milligrams of THC I can consume and still have like all my shit together. You know what I mean? Like I was just eating these like churro cookie, like 10 milligram, like edible cookies, and just buzzing through the whole weekend. But anyway, enough about the Jesus camp. That's why I couldn't be at this show. Oh yeah, so Hector and Joseph get there with the CDJs in Joseph's car, and it's about time to air, and I'm getting these text messages while I'm at Jesus camp, and it's like, yo, Hector, Joseph, where are you? Blah blah blah. I'm kind of seeing this shit. I'm like, yo, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys left so long ago. Like, what's up? And I get a text message, and it says, we can't get the CDJs out of Joseph's car. They're stuck. I was like, at first I looked at it and I was just like, boys, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean you can't get it out? Just like, what the fuck do you mean? Just keep turning it. It went in one way. It's going to come out the same exact way. Just do exactly what you did to put it in there, but the opposite. But I'm super high at Jesus camp, and so I'm like, whatever, I can't do anything about it. They'll figure it out. Come to find out, like, it was like actually like crazy stuck. Like Ben went down there to go help them. Bassman went to go down there to help him, and he was like, oh shit, yeah, this is like stuck. Like, what the fuck? And so they ended up like they figured out how to like take off the top of the case, but like it bent a bunch of shit, like it scratched, like whatever, like the shit's fine. It's like I don't care about that. It was just funny that like fucking we can't get the CDJs out, they're stuck in the car. Like, what the fuck? It was hilarious. But anyway, the boys had an awesome night. It was like I got to listen to the whole thing on my Bluetooth headphones at this Jesus camp, and so it was like I guess okay. That was like another highlight of the night or the highlight of Jesus camp, is I got to like hear the radio show actually on the radio. You know what I mean? Because normally I would have been in the room with them, but it was cool to like not be there and then to like, you know, listen to it on the radio. I was like, oh shit, like my friend's on the fucking radio right now. So that was tight. That was hilarious. What else happened there? Oh yeah, Jose couldn't make it because like Pablo Key was running late. Another DJ was running late, so Jose couldn't make it to KXOU, and so he was like just like filling in for hours, I guess, at Pattern Bar. Um, and then Hector played pretty much. I think he played all the tracks from his upcoming EP, which I think him and Young Jedi are actually, they're at Hector's house right now mastering those tracks. I think they said that they're gonna do it today, which is awesome. But yeah, he played most of his EP, which were obviously all original tracks, on the radio, which was dope. I'm glad that he did that. It's just like another step forward into the music making process. You know, like we talk about it all the time about how long do you hold a song for, how long do you keep working on it, when do you stop and just let it go, you know? And so I think playing it out on the radio was one step, and hopefully we'll get to hear that EP soon. Yeah, I believe they're working on it right now. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. That should be tight. What else happened? Bassman again played at Academy, opening for Funt Case. Super like bassy dubsteppy shit. And I forget what the Academy used to be called, but it's a pretty major club in Hollywood also. I played at El Dorado for concept nights with the 900 block, Stefan, Mikey, Jade guys. Yeah, that was chill. Oh, we did a Raw show. So the Raw, if you guys don't know about Raw, they're a company that basically like, they're like an agency sort of, except they don't represent you. It's more like they have events, and then you can like, you know, like vend at these events. You like play music or sell your art or like do like interpretive dance or like live painting or stand-up comedy or fashion. Just like they like encompass everything creative. And so they basically they had us all come in, and the whole Mixplate crew just come in, just play music for the downstairs of Exchange, which is they're really cool events. Like if you guys are listening and haven't been to one yet, they're pretty cool. The art is always phenomenal there. There's always some kind of cool like live element. Like usually like in one room they'll be doing like a fashion show, and then like a comedian, and then like an interpretive dance person, and then but then like surrounding that whole shit is like a whole bunch of artists selling shit, all kinds of cool paintings, and yeah, it's a really cool show. And yeah, it was cool that we got to do that. They let Jose in. Jose quote unquote got banned from Exchange the last time we were there, but it was funny when we were all standing there and we saw him walk in. We're like, they let you back in. Yeah, bro. And speaking of Jose, that dude's been just going off with the shows. Been playing a lot of shows with the Technopathic guys. He did Temple Tuesdays. I think he also did he was on at like Avalon when Eddie had the show at Control. Yeah, and on top of that, Jose has been like everyone's favorite graphic guy. Dude just makes like the craziest flyers. Yeah. Low Tops. So this is a show that me and Hector it was like we were more just kind of like chilling background music kind of vibe. It was a pool party during the day, but it was for our friends Low Tops, which is Riley and Ipo. These two kids that I went to high school with. Funny enough, yeah, they have this reggae band. It's called Low Tops. They play they call it space reggae, which is actually something that my friend Anthony, like when we went to their show. Well, let me back up. I didn't play with them. We basically took all their stems from all their songs and I put it into Ableton, and I would just like, you know, like cue like the drum parts, cue the like piano parts, and just like do like dub kind of shit, like loop stuff, and just like some computer type shit that's what I was doing with them. I played a couple shows with them. But when people would come to the shows, when they would come talk to Ipo and Riley after and us, they'd be like, or Anthony was like, dude, you guys play like space reggae. And it really is like their sound is super unique. I mean, I grew up listening to reggae music, like, and after a while that shit just sounds like the same goddamn thing over and over, much like electronic music or dance music. You know what I mean? Like just after a while, this shit just gets so fucking repetitive. You know what I mean? Until someone kind of comes and breaks that shit up and makes like, and so that's what I think like low tops are doing. Like they have a really really unique sound. So yeah, we just played their party. It was like a fundraiser type thing because they're actually going on their first tour with this other group called Hyrie, also from Hawaii, reggae music. But yeah, it was cool, man. It was like, I'm super stoked for them to be going on tour. They definitely deserve it. They're releasing their EP, and it's just all kind of happening for them. I remember when I told them that like I couldn't like jam with them anymore because like I had all kinds of ideas with them. I was like, oh, we can like remix your songs like this and like all kinds of ideas for this shit. But my wife really like kind of made it a point. She was like, dude, you're doing too much shit. You got like this DJ thing. You're doing like video stuff and you're working for like you can't do all this shit. You're gonna burn yourself out. And she was absolutely right. And so yeah, I was bummed. I was bummed when I told them I couldn't play with them anymore because I was like, I called it. I was like, dude, you guys are gonna be sick. Like, just keep fucking doing this. You definitely have something, and like it's awesome to see them still doing it. Like they're going on tour. We're actually gonna go see them play in Long Beach. I think next weekend. Yeah, next Friday, some shit like that. But yeah, if whoever's listening, if you guys want to hear some cool, trippy like reggae music from two kids from Hawaii, like it's pretty fucking cool. Look them up. They're called Low Tops. And then I guess the last thing to talk about is the wedding that me and Eddie played. That was fun. That was for Matt and Heidi, the owners of Raw Artists, the show I was just talking about at Exchange. It was the owners of this this company, and yeah, it was such a unique experience because I mean, I know Eddie's been doing kind of like he's done Raw gigs before where you're not like DJing to like a party. You're just kind of playing background music, you know, like Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like just regular type music, not like dance shit. And so yeah, it was super fun. We had this little like mini command station, like had like my laptop plugged into CDJs with like this huge library that they provided for us. They're like, here's all our favorite songs, like play whatever you want from this. But we just had like folders of just like trippy. Oh, let me pull some stuff up actually of like what we played, because it was just fun, man. Like it was nice to play a show where it wasn't just dance music people. As much as I love dance music shit, like I'll be honest, like, you know what I mean? It was just nice to like play a show. And here, let me pull up this like playlist. Like during the cocktail hour, it was like Gorillaz, yeah, Nappy Roots, Cranberries, The Police, Maroon 5, Tears for Fears, The Cure, Neil Young, Childish Gambino, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, you know, like cool shit. And like for the party, it was like Mariah Carey, Smash Mouth, Chromeo, Rolling Stones, fucking T-Pain, 50 Cent, Justin Timberlake, just a bunch of random Coolio, Pharrell, Jungle, like just all kinds of shit. And so it was fun because it was working that muscle that I'd never ever work, which is not mixing and beat matching and all that kind of shit. It was more like just song selection. Like fuck the mixing, fuck the transitions, really, for the most part. Like obviously we found some like, you know, two songs that go together that are like, oh yeah, just loop that shit real quick, like the drums or whatever, or like this little like vocal loop or whatever. Like we obviously found those, but for the most part it was just kind of like, what would go really really good with this? You know what I mean? Like without thinking like beats per minute or key or whatever, you know what I mean? It was more like energy. It was more like, what's the right song to play after that? And so, and obviously this is what DJs do, but not really like in dance music. It's more linear, sort of, you know, like you're still in this dance music bubble. Like when you're playing a wedding, it's just like, okay, I'm just going to read 3 artists that are right next to each other, these songs. It's Justin Timberlake, Can't Stop the Feeling, which is fucking... So it's that. And then, like, right next to that is Post Malone. then right next to that is like Lauryn Hill. So you know what I mean? Like, oh, and then this fucking song. Oh my god, do you guys remember this? It's like Boz Lerman talking over this song called "Everybody's Free," and then in parentheses to wear sunscreen, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of '99, wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future.
And then when the beat drops and shit.
Don't worry about the future. Or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum.
So fucking true. Nah, this song is so crazy.
Accept certain inalienable truths. Prices will rise. Politicians will philander. You too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected their elders. Respect your elders.
Ooh, if you guys haven't heard that song, you need to listen to it. I don't know if it's by Boz Lerman. I know that's like the writer. I get that. I think it might be produced by somebody else, but I believe like the guy talking in that is Boz Lerman, and then it's like this beat over it, but it's called Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen. Anyway, the wedding was awesome. It was like oh, and I was sober too. I was like, and it was even before Sober October. It was just like a rule, I guess, for that venue. It was like anybody who's working at that wedding like can't drink. So even if it wasn't Sober October, I would have been sober anyway. Actually, no, I take that back. If it wasn't Sober October, I probably would have bought like a flask of tequila. I'm gonna be completely fucking honest. I almost definitely would have brought a flask of tequila and like been taking shots in the bathroom, just to like, like get in the vibe. But that's like one thing that I'm learning from this whole Sober October experience is like I don't know. I feel like I have more energy and like. I don't know. I wake up better. Like I'm in better moods. I mean, I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, but I think I'm saying I'm definitely going to take breaks from it again. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll definitely take breaks again because like I'm not really like tired like that. Like Laura's like, "Hey, you want to go do yoga?" Yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. Like normally I would have been like, "Oh, I just want to go to sleep" or whatever, some kind of excuse, but now it's like I don't know. I wouldn't call it a religious experience, but kind of like a little awakening. Awakenings. What the fuck else? I guess the last thing before I wrap this up. Yeah, it's almost an hour. But yeah. Anyway, like whoever's listening to this, let me know if you like this format. I kind of just want to try it out. And normally like I like listen back to the podcast like when I'm doing it with people just to like do levels and like, you know what I mean, like if somebody said something super like like a fuck dude, I shouldn't have said that, you know what I mean, then I'll chop it out or whatever. But like I think for these I'm just gonna like do like how the podcasting guys do it, and they just fucking once they're done they hit stop, upload, boom, put a title, done. Like no editing. So yeah, let me know if you like this or don't like this or whatever. I mean, we're still gonna do like the Mixed Plate podcast, absolutely. But I just wanted to do like fresh catch, and like maybe like I'll do shit like I don't know, like I'll find maybe like 2 songs that like I'm digging that week or some shit, or I don't know, some kind of new like movie that comes out, talk about it, or just like shit, I don't know. I think everybody should do this. I'd be down to just listen to like. I mean, I do. I'm down. I listen to random people talk about what they do. You know what I mean? Like I listen to comedians for fucking. I listen to them all day. Just talk about shit. So, hopefully, like some of you are out there and who are benefiting from this. Maybe, I mean, even if you're not really learning, and hopefully you guys are learning something. But maybe we're just background noise. Maybe we're just like people talking in the background, like while you're doing some mundane shit. Like I listen to podcasts when I'm like doing dishes, or like I'm by myself and cooking, or like cleaning the room, doing laundry, like just stupid shit, like driving by myself, like I just have to throw podcasts on because I don't know, it's It's a cool format, and you just hear people just talking. Like, it's tight. So yeah, hope you guys dig it. Let me know. And I mean, please let me know. But if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway. But I guess if you don't like it, just let me know so I can figure out like what I could do to make it better so you do like it or whatever. Yeah, cool. Oh, last thing. I'm gonna upload this, I guess now. Like, I'm gonna literally, I'm just gonna upload this shit straight. So, me and Eddie are gonna be playing Pattern Bar on Saturday for Tech Support LA again. Shout out to the homies Donald Thump and Mr. Smith from Tech Support for having us. Hopefully they come out, because those guys would be fun to talk to on a podcast too. So yeah, come check us out on Pattern Bar. It's myself, Marvin Jest, and Masi, not Masio, Masi. So yeah, should be a fun night. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Love you, appreciate you guys for listening. And I promise I will do more, and we'll do more, because we should all do this more. Right on, guys. Appreciate it. Love you. Catch us back on the Mixplate podcast and my solo podcast, Fresh Catch, coming soon. All right, y'all. Peace.
I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Oh, never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they've faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you'll look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous you really looked. You are not as fat as you imagine. Don't worry about the future, or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum. The real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindsides you at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. Do one thing every day that scares you. Sing. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss. Don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. Behind.